Good morning, everyone. My name is Drew Andrews. I'm the Assistant Director and Technical Assistance Coordinator at the Florida Center for Students with Unique Abilities. We're glad that you were able to join us for this third breakout session, and you're in for a treat today. And we're happy to have Adrienne Grant, the Vice President of External Affairs at CareerSource Florida. And she's here to talk about the CareerSource Florida Network, your job search partner. And we all know that employment is our focus with Florida Postsecondary Comprehensive Transition Programs. So we always love having partners that can work with us on that. So welcome, Adrienne, and we're so appreciate you being here today.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Drew, for that introduction, and thank you to all of the leaders who are joining us today for the CareerSource Florida Network session. During this year's Post-Secondary Education Program Planning Institute, I was just sharing with Drew as we were getting ready to get started here that we are delighted that you all had us back after last year's conversation and presentation with our President and CEO, Michelle Denner, and I. As Drew said, I am the Vice President of External Affairs at CareerSource Florida, and I'm so honored and grateful to be joined today by one of the outstanding colleagues and partners who works with us at the local level, Dr. Elsa DeGoche from CareerSource Palm Beach County. You'll get to meet Elsa and hear more about her and her team's work in a little bit as we move through today's presentation. We also have time at the end of our talk for Q&A and discussion, and we hope you will leave this presentation considering the possibilities regarding how you, in your important roles and in support of your students in program success, can explore ways to collaborate with Florida's workforce development system partners to help more Floridians connect to meaningful employment and career pathways. For some of you, but hopefully not for all, today's session may be your first introduction to the CareerSource Florida Network. I am fortunate to be part of a small but mighty team of professionals who support CareerSource Florida, which is the state workforce policy and investment board that leads our network. CareerSource Florida is our state's principal workforce policy organization. The business-led board is appointed by the governor and represents a cross-section of stakeholders charged with helping to guide the state's broader talent development ecosystem, of which you two are a part of. You will see here our mission and vision, and both are big. We believe that Florida can be and should be the global leader for talent, but to be the global leader, we also must be the national leader. Some of you may have heard of BHAGs, or Big, Hairy, Audacious Goals. Our state, the third largest state in the nation, is also a global economic powerhouse. As our great friend, partner, and a past member of the State Workforce Development Board, Mark Wilson, President and CEO of the Florida Chamber, often highlights that Florida is currently 15th in the world in terms of the size of our economy, and our goal is to be 10th by 2030. We want to have the 10th largest economy by 2030. But of course, we can't get there without a nationally and globally leading workforce, and that means ensuring everyone who wants to work, including Floridians with disabilities or unique abilities, have an opportunity to do so with the right education, skills, training, and support to thrive. It's our mission that I believe links our work to yours as important contributors to higher education through Florida Post-Secondary Comprehensive Transition Programs. We are laser focused on connecting job seekers and employers to help Floridians achieve self-sufficiency and access good jobs and careers. And we also work to help job seekers, workers, and businesses all achieve economic prosperity. You are focused on helping Florida students, particularly those with intellectual and developmental disabilities, pursue and attain post-secondary education goals And as Drew said, the ultimate goal is putting them on a path to employment. Our goal, taken from the Federal Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which enables and funds our public workforce development system, focuses on all the things I just mentioned that drive our mission and vision. It also contemplates our shared work to support student success as today's learners transition into the workforce to become tomorrow's earners on a path to economic mobility and prosperity. While our state board and the professional team that supports it lead the CareerSource Florida Network in developing workforce strategies, policies, and investments, we work most closely with our network partners, the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity, and the foundation and core of our network, Florida's 24 local workforce development boards. In fact, about 85% of the federal funding that Florida receives for workforce development flows directly to local communities through the leadership of these local boards, which are also business-led to address local and regional employment, training, and hiring needs. You see the map there and the list of the 24 local workforce development boards. If you don't already have a connection to your local workforce development board, the one that is in your community and local area, we hope you'll take the opportunity to reach out and explore how you can work together to help your students connect to what are already prepaid employment and training resources to support your and our efforts to help them achieve independent living, post-secondary education credentials, and employment. As I mentioned, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, that is the federal policy cornerstone of our inclusive workforce development efforts, is often referred to as WIOA, compels the work of our network, and it also identifies core partners that we must work with. Those partners include the Florida Department of Education's Division of Vocational Rehabilitation and the Division of Blind Services. Both have leader representatives on the State Workforce Development Board, which is made up of private sector and public sector leaders to drive state workforce policy decisions. WIOA establishes priorities for assisting individuals with barriers to employment or opportunity groups that often are underserved or underrepresented. And that includes people with disabilities. We're charged with helping them gain education, skills, and employment that leads to economic self-sufficiency, mobility, and prosperity. I mentioned the important work that happens locally on the workforce development front. Florida's 24 local boards and the nearly 100 career centers they oversee provide a number of quality services and access to resources such as training scholarships and support services for job seekers. Career centers also offer customized support to Floridians who self-identify as having a disability. For example, career centers are staffed by disability services specialists who are knowledgeable about local programs and services designed to assist Floridians with disabilities with their skills development and employment needs. More than half of the state's local workforce development boards offer the Ticket to Work program, which is available to job seekers ages 18 to 64 who receive supplemental security income and/or Social Security disability insurance and are seeking to become economically self-sufficient through employment. Participants in the Ticket to Work program receive employment services, including career and financial counseling, resume assistance, access to job readiness workshops, and job referrals. During the most recently completed program years, we are working to prepare our annual report to the governor and legislature. We have determined that last year, our network assisted 96,000 job seekers who received assistance and then went on to gain employment. Of course, also driving our network's efforts are the needs of Florida's job creators, our employers. The network delivered high-quality business services to nearly 54,000 employers last program year. And this slide provides an example of the services available to support businesses in their recruitment, hiring, and training needs. I touched on the priority for assisting individuals with disabilities with employment and careers. During last year's presentation, we were joined by an executive leader with CareerSource Gulf Coast here in North Florida, Florida's Great Northwest. And one of the programs that she highlighted was a partnership with the Arc of the Bay. That partnership resulted in a new culinary institute to connect young people with disabilities to jobs in the hospitality sector that were and continue to be in demand. There's a wonderful video about that program that I had hoped to show today, but was a little nervous about the technology. And so it was recommended that I share that video in the exhibitor area for CareerSource Florida. So I encourage you, please, if you have 4 minutes, it's very short, but meaningful. I encourage you to take a look at that video, and it will give you an idea of the power of partnerships and the opportunity to come together, education, workforce, and economic development, and businesses to provide wonderful training and employment opportunities for individuals with disabilities. And now it's my pleasure to invite Elsa, who is wonderfully talented and committed, and ask Elsa to introduce herself and talk about CareerSource Palm Beach County's efforts that are making a profound difference in the lives of Floridians in South Florida. Elsa?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. And I love to see familiar faces in the audience. And for those of you that I don't know, let me introduce myself, and would love for you to be part of my team, my friends team. Anyway, I have the pleasure and the honor, actually, to lead disability services at CareerSource of Palm Beach County. As Adrian had said earlier, we're a workforce development board that we help individuals become self-sufficient and independent, and by various ways that have been mentioned, not only training and development, but leading to employment to become self-sufficient and independent. My team, I've been here at CareerSource now 8 years. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, and I have a background in education, leadership, and technology as well. My team it's a small team, but powerful, like Adrian said. I have a small team of 4, but boy, when they get on a mission, they get on a mission. We've actually placed over 400 people this last program year. So I'm very happy to say that, we've changed many, many lives. And we have 2 parts to my disability services department. We do run the Ticket to Work program, which is a program from Social Security that we would like our clients to get off Social Security and become self-sufficient and independent. And the goal is to make more money, of course, than what Social Security provides them. We work with those clients. We also work with clients that just have a documented disability that want to enhance their lives, either get a new job, a better job, or they want to grow in education. And if that's the case, we have our own colleagues that we're referred to under our WIOA program. So we have multitude of services that we render. I'm actually very proud. I'm going to talk a little bit about something that we do that's a little unique, although we do lots of, but we do a lot of job fairs, as you all may know, since we're an employment network, and the goal is employment. But we do a job fair quarterly that comes out from our department, Disability Services, not from the recruiting arena, since I have my own recruiters. And actually, it's something called Project Impact. And it's a unique job fair because what we do is we actually start by putting priority of service for persons with disabilities and veterans. And of course, like mentioned, one of the important aspects of what we do is also not only our clients, but our employers. So Project Impact, what we do is we inform our employers, it's a job fair, but we inform our employers at firsthand that we're giving priority of service to disabilities and veterans. We just recently had a very successful Project Impact, October 14th, where over 200 participants came. We actually partnered with the city of Boynton Beach. And the beauty of this, that a lot of our officials also attended, our mayors and our commissioners. We had over 22 employers. We had all type of sectors. Originally, we started with one of the areas that is actually in a lot of need right now, which is logistics and transportation. That's how we originally started developing this Project Impact. And all of a sudden it snowballed, which was wonderful because it gave so many more opportunities to so many more of our clients. So not only did we do your Amazon, your PalmTran, your NV Transit, your transportation and logistic employers that joined us, but we also had Marriott's and the Hyatt. We had the FBI join us. We had the city of Boynton Beach, and we had a few others, over 20 employers, like I shared. It was a beautiful event. It was actually an event that was very well received by the city of Boynton Beach. So much so that because we changed so many lives. Right now, up to date, we have placed approximately over 40 individuals, a lot, hopefully more. But what we want to do is we're waiting to see with the employers how much more can we place from the Project Impact. So we're checking with each employer. We're following up to see if we can go further than 40 employees that they hired. Some of them are still on background checks, and some of them are still on drug testing. So my goal is to hopefully, I would love to double that, but I have big dreams. So basically, Project Impact is one of the things that we do among many. Also, we do, as mentioned earlier, we also prepare individuals with education. So part of the Project Impact, I want to share, we had all our educational partners with us, which was wonderful. We had, Palm Beach State College. We had a few other private universities as well. We had the adult education programs there. We had our own training programs there. And the beauty of having everyone in one room is we're all making an impact together. That's why it's so important that we all work together and continue to team with one another so that we can continue changing lives of individuals with disabilities. Nobody left the job fair without something, whether it was hopefully a job, but if not, if they didn't find a job that they were looking for, they were at least talking to someone from the training and learning environment. They were actually leaving with hope. They were leaving with something to come back to CareerSource to be able for us to continue assisting them and supporting them in their job endeavors journey. So I encourage all of us that we continue to partner, and my doors are always open. Andrea knows I have the open door policy, although I'm not by all of you, it's not my region. You are all welcome to give me a call or contact me in any way, and I will gladly help you in any way that I can. And if I don't have the answer, I'll try to get you the answer. So we did have a lot of success with this particular Project Impact. So I wanted to share that with you. I actually had a gentleman that called me yesterday. He's one of my wheelchair users. And it was very timely because he was at Project Impact, and he said, Elsa, I was making $8.50 an hour, and I just got a job from one of the individuals that was at Project Impact. I'm starting at $14 an hour as a customer service rep and a clinical aide. So I was so excited, thank you, that I wanted to share because it was very timely. I was thinking, oh, who am I going to share this? Who am I going to share in this particular meeting? And when he called me, and I know that you all could probably relate at one time or another, I got goosebumps. He was crying on the phone saying, somebody saw my talent. Somebody saw me beyond my wheelchair. And these are the things that I live for, my team lives for, and all of you that are with me, we're all on the same journey. So I just want to say, thank you. This is just one little thing that we do here at CareerSource Palm Beach County, but we're here for you in any other way that we can to support you.
Thank you, Elsa, for all that you and your team do and for sharing that invaluable perspective. I'm going to call an audible here. I see that your colleague at CareerSource Palm Beach County and my friend Michael Corbett was able to join us. And so,
Yes.
Michael, if you would unmute. Michael is the Vice President of Business Development for CareerSource Palm Beach County, and also next to his title is Rockstar.
Yeah.
And he speaks the language of business. He comes from business, and I can anticipate, based on some earlier conversations that I've had with participants in this convening, there's great interest in what employers are looking for, and of course, how to prepare and connect their students to employment. So would you share some perspective with us as well, Michael?
Of course, Adrienne, thank you very much for having me today. I'm glad I could jump on. Luckily, I was at the start of the agenda of the previous meeting I just came from, and I logged off and
Great.
jumped on here. But ELSA tells a great story. That's one of my favorite departments, the disability and special needs. All the best stories usually come out of ELSA's department, and we could take the whole time and talk about those successes. But we also have a veterans department with 9 individuals. They focus on veterans, their spouses and families, and then a re-entry department. And through this pandemic, we have had really good success in taking re-entry folks that are coming out of prisons and jails, getting their resumes updated, teaching them how to present themselves, how to dress, how to interview. We've had real good success in getting those people jobs. I spend most of my time with businesses out in the community. A big portion of my focus is on economic development. Here in Palm Beach County, we have had great success attracting business and financial firms, a lot of logistics, distribution, transportation, obviously healthcare, and hospitality. In Palm Beach County, that employs about 90,000 people, and it has really bounced back very nicely over the last 12 to 14 months after the initial pandemic. The other thing we do is what's called the Learner's Pathway. We've been working on with CareerSource Florida and other folks on looking at the certifications, the credentials, the degrees that are provided by not only the school district and adult education, but from the state college and the higher education institutions, and putting those on a map basically from left to right to seeing what is the talent and the pipeline and the talent that's coming out of those organizations and the types of jobs that are available. I think that's really where across the state of Florida, the beauty of our college students and high school students, if we could keep them in the state of Florida, we would not have an employment problem. So in Palm Beach County and hopefully across the state, we will maintain that focus on keeping our younger people in the state and working at our companies and businesses. I love that. And also mentioned job fairs. We're doing a job fair today virtually for all 5 campuses for Palm Beach State College. So it was really focused on the students. That college, most of their kids are needing to work while they go to school. They don't have the luxury of just going to school. They need to work and support themselves. So this is we had 36 companies right now. This runs through 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon. We do job fairs by industry. We did one for manufacturing a week or so ago. We did one for healthcare a week or so.
Looks like our partners there froze again. Okay, I wanted to give them just a minute to see if they could come back. We'll keep going, but there'll be time during discussion to continue to share. Thank you so much, Michael. The entities highlighted on this next slide are familiar to all of us as contributors to Florida's broader workforce development or talent development ecosystem. No surprises there. But for Florida to become the global talent leader, we will have to continue to build and strengthen our state through an even greater level of collaboration, the kinds of collaboration we're talking about today, the kind of collaboration we want to create as we begin to work with more of you on and your programs and the students who you are working with. And that means we're going to have to continue to align our strategies and our resources and look for ways to move from being transactional to transformational. That's really important to our workforce system particularly as Michael was talking about, working across industry sectors. How do we not just help the individual businesses that come to us from healthcare, from trade and logistics, from advanced manufacturing, but understand what their total talent needs are across the sector by local areas and by regions, and then work with all of our partners to ensure we are creating solutions that provide a pathway to those good jobs. One of Governor Ron DeSantis' first executive actions when he became governor was the signing of Executive Order 1931, charting a course for Florida to become #1 in the nation in workforce education by 2030. Since the very early days of his administration and continuing today, the governor has asked that we accelerate the collaboration between the education and workforce system, and there's a renewed urgency and momentum as we continue to rebuild our economy in the wake of this extraordinary pandemic that's disrupted our systems and our lives. One of the important parts of the governor's bold vision for workforce education is Florida's attainment goal that I hope you all are familiar with. And the Executive Order 1931 called for increasing the number of Floridians with high-value post-secondary credentials. And that's, again, work that connects all of us. The governor also has made expanding apprenticeships a priority, and this continues to remain a top priority among his workforce education priorities and policies as we move forward to continue to activate and realize his bold vision for workforce education and opportunities in Florida. I wanted to, and I'm bringing the prepared part of the conversation to a close shortly so that we have time for Q&A and discussion, but I wanted to leave and end talking about apprenticeships because this was one of the topics during last year's convening that generated the most discussion and interest. Apprenticeships help to build strong and inclusive economies, and the governor specifically has identified apprenticeships as one of our key strategies for ensuring Florida has a skilled and competitive workforce. Apprenticeships offer an industry-driven, employer-led, and high-quality pathway through which employers can develop and prepare their future workforce, and individuals, including those with disabilities, can obtain paid work experience, classroom instruction, and portable, nationally recognized credentials. Under the governor's leadership and with support from the Florida legislature, more Florida employers are turning to this proven strategy for building a skilled workforce, and apprenticeship expansion is a priority of both the CareerSource Florida Network and the Florida Department of Education, which actually leads Florida's registered apprenticeship efforts. We know that individuals with disabilities can work and succeed in all sectors of our economy, and apprenticeships offer a proven work-based model that can open doors to good jobs and good careers. This is actually National Apprenticeship Week, and so there's a lot of attention being placed on opportunities to increase the number of apprenticeship opportunities. There's also a significant amount of federal and state funding for supporting the expansion of apprenticeships. And again, that just presents an opportunity for us to look at tapping into a resource that has existed since the 30s as a proven training model and determining how we can best connect individuals with disabilities to these opportunities. Apprentice Florida is an outreach campaign that was developed by CareerSource Florida, working with the Florida Department of Education and the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity, that connects individuals interested in apprenticeships, as well as employers interested in apprenticeships, with the right individuals in our state to help them realize that interest and pursue that interest. If you'd like to know more about apprenticeships and explore, have conversations about whether these might present opportunities for the students you work with, I encourage you to contact your local workforce board. Under CareerSource Florida's leadership and through funding provided to each of the local workforce development boards, every one of Florida's workforce boards has an apprenticeship navigator that's helping to connect partners and individuals interested in apprenticeships with employers and education institutions, and of course, individuals interested in becoming apprentices. So that really is today's call to action, I think. Looking for ways that we can provide valuable and viable opportunities, particularly work-based earn and learn opportunities, to connect the students you serve to the workforce. Floridians with disabilities represent an under-tapped talent for apprenticeships, and we see that both in state and national data, which again, to me, just signals the great opportunity that exists. There's really no better time than now to be having today's conversation about how we can continue to be your job partner in helping your students realize their employment success. Job openings are at an all-time high coming back from the pandemic when we lost so much through the economic disruption. Right now in our state, we have more job openings than we have individuals who have indicated they're actively looking for work. The employer demand that we were beginning to hear Michael talk about before we lost Elsa and Michael, and it looks like they're back. Welcome back. It is very strong. And Michael talked about employers' interest in looking beyond more traditional labor pools and being more inclusive, which is so important that we ensure every Floridian has a chance to access what they need to connect to meaningful employment. And then the resources within the CareerSource Florida Network, again, primarily available locally through the local partner, your local workforce development board, presents an opportunity. Not in every case across our state, but in many instances, Career Center traffic is down. Individuals who are coming to the Career Center are coming very often still to look for assistance with reemployment assistance. They aren't necessarily ready to go back to work. And so if you've got students who you know are looking to transition to the workforce, now's the opportunity to work with our local career experts and hiring experts and determine what opportunities might exist for those students. That opportunity exists all the time, but particularly now with the demand for new hires from employers and the demand for talent to keep their businesses going, that presents a great opportunity. In fact, there was just a national report that came across my desk just last week based on some October employment data looking at national trends and indicating that employment for individuals with disabilities is at a historic level since this data began being collected several years ago. And so those, again, are all positive signs. And with that, I'd like to pause and open the floor for questions and discussion. I think, Drew, you will help us with discussions that may, or questions that may be added into the chat. But we also are we allowed to just open the floor and unmute for those who have questions?
Certainly. Folks can unmute themselves and ask any questions. I know that I have a question. And I just wanted to ask, I mean, certainly the information Elsa has shared is amazing. We have programs throughout the state. You've shared that there are so many CareerSource offices throughout the state. I know where the one is locally in my area where I live. If the folks in that office are not familiar with Florida Postsecondary Comprehensive Transition Programs, and our work to prepare young adults with intellectual disabilities for employment, do you have suggestions on the best way for that initial meeting, that initial introduction to take place so that everyone gets started on a just for that to be a good starting point? How should that be? Oftentimes it's the first step that's the hardest step to take. What is that first step? Maybe that's what I'm asking.
I will share my thoughts on that, and then I'll ask if Elsa and Michael want to weigh in. And my quick answer is find the Elsa in your neighborhood.
Yeah, definitely.
So she's one of a kind, but there are also committed and talented individuals. And remember, every local board has designated at least a single individual. In many cases, like Elsa, there's a small team of folks who are focused on this as a disability specialist. So find out who that person is, call and ask who that person is. And that's where I recommend you have your introductory conversation.
Thank you so much, Adrian.
Elsa, what would you add to that?
Well, that's definitely the first step. In the past, we've also done what we call coffee talks, where we have had open the floor on certain topics, have had certain networking opportunities. Maybe another thought would be putting, some of us all together in a room, and then doing that initial introduction, so that then the teams on the floor can then also spread the word. It's all about connections, about that networking, about spreading the word out. And that's what I would do. I would take it a step further.
I love that idea. So if I understand, you're recommending that we work with Iris and Drew and their team, and then you and our team on this side, and see if we can bring everyone together, maybe even for a virtual conversation.
Yeah. Yeah,
Love
our
that.
coffee talks, our virtual coffee talks are usually, I call them coffee talks, because they're usually, there's a subject, so we always have to continue.
Oh, we've lost her again.
I think they're continuing to have some Wi-Fi challenges.
Adrian, so I have a question. Not
Yeah.
necessarily a question, just a comment, but as I reach out to the CareerSource South Florida, as soon as I call, can I just say, hey, can you connect me with the disability specialist? And can I tell them about our need for internships and employment for our students? Is that?
That's where I would start. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
And I'll give you the name of the chief executive who oversees the programs for Miami-Dade and Monroe County. Again, that's Rick Beasley. He's the executive
Beasley?
director. Yes. And so should you have any challenges, I don't think that you will, but should you have any challenges, feel free to reach out to Mr. Beasley and let him know that Adrian told you to do that.
Thank you so much.
But yeah, absolutely. Just call the nearest career center and let them know who you are and what help you're looking for. And I'm sure they will connect you to someone to keep the conversation going.
Thank you.
Great.
Again, this is a shared goal among all of us. How are we helping Floridians in need connect to employment? And when you succeed and we help you, we succeed.
And there comes Elsa's coming back in now. I see she's coming
Okay.
back to the meeting, so hopefully she's been able to reconnect.
Welcome back, Elsa.
Are there other questions that folks may have? I know this has been such good information. It really looks like, and that idea of us having a coffee talk with the disability coordinators from each CareerSource region with, folks from FCSUA and maybe from some of our FPCTPs. And so, that is a great idea for us to really get that common, because we've got great folks. We've got, many programs have job developers. So, we've got folks that are even supporting people with, once, completing that whole entry into work process also. So, there's more than just one person supporting.
I have a question. We work with mostly our students in our career technical college at Robert Morgan, and they are mostly all of them, because that's part of our requirement, is for them to become vocational rehab clients. So once they are graduated, they assist them with job finding. Now, you work separately from vocational rehab, correct? It's totally a different institution. Or do you work with them, or do we need to refer our students also to CareerSource?
So we could spend a lot of time on this topic, and I'll try to make it succinct.
Okay.
Vocational rehabilitation is also funded through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And Galen and his team earlier asked me in a meetup a similar question. I said they're like cousins.
Mhm.
And in many instances, they actually are housed within the Career Center because we're compelled to work together, not to duplicate,
Mhm.
but to identify with each individual, whether they come through one door or the other, where the services and resources are that best address their need.
Correct.
And so what should happen is it's fine for them to enter the door through vocational rehabilitation, but are there additional resources on the workforce side of the house that can also support and help in the process of preparing
Okay.
individuals for employment?
Okay, so we could refer them to that also. So find somebody who's local to our area then from CareerSource.
You could, and in fact, some of you may be familiar with the new REACH Act that was passed in the last legislative session. That was a priority of Speaker Sprowls and signed into law by the governor that compels the education and workforce systems to work better together. And part of the directive there that the speaker often talks about is the no wrong door entry. And so there are plans to ensure we're doing more. We're going to need some technology to enable this, but we're doing more common intake and being able to share registration data so that individuals don't have to apply, multiple times and provide the same information. It'll be a while before we get there, but that's the ultimate vision we're driving toward. The short answer is it may not be as smooth right now, but that level of coordination does exist.
All right, thank you.
That's
Thank you.
That's wonderful. And I know that Horace Brown, who's with vocational rehabilitation, just joined us. He just joined in the session. So that's wonderful to know, Adrian, because it's there are so many resources out there for students with disabilities and students gaining employment and students with disabilities gaining employment that it's like we just have to, we need to make sure that all of our programs understand all of those processes so that they're able to successfully work with all of those supports that are out there. I mean, it's wonderful that there's so many supports in place. It's just the coordination, I think, sometimes for folks, because also in our programs, we do have turnover, not in every program, but in some programs we do have some regular turnover. And so it's new folks and teaching new guidelines. And all of this takes some time, and it takes building relationships, and it takes understanding the processes. And if it's something working with the state, whether it's at UCF or anyway, there are usually a couple of steps and a little bit of time that's involved. And, we all want everything right now. I know I do. I want it right now, but I'm helping everyone understand that. So this is really great, wonderful conversation for us.
Was actually in the REACH Act $1 million appropriation tied to it for a study that's underway to look for ways to better integrate. It's called the Workforce Integration Project. Education resources with workforce system resources, and the REACH Act defines the workforce development system as that ecosystem that I talked about earlier. So it's everybody, it's all the education entities, it's the entire workforce development system, it's the community development, the economic development, the social safety net. So we are definitely moving in that direction.
Yes. Other questions? Are anyone on the call? Is anyone already working with their local CareerSource office? Would anyone like to share?
Not yet, but I will as soon as this is over. So.
And you anticipated my question, Drew.
That's wonderful. Oh, okay. I was just curious because we've certainly had a couple of times where folks have shared their there's a lot to do. And I know people in programs are very busy, and sometimes making those connections take a little bit of time, but these resources can really help take some of that work off of you in the long run. It's a lot of work to front load it and get it all in place. But once it's in place and the process is worked out and everyone, it's just that it can be such a support to everyone. Other questions that anyone might have, other suggestions you might have, Adrian?
Again, just consider the apprenticeship idea. There is vast opportunity for looking at ways to open the doors for apprenticeships and for individuals who are looking. It's earn and learn. Sometimes you need to work and and go to school and get training at the same time, so there's income coming in.
Yes.
And looking at we were looking at some data. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we're looking at some federal data. It's again an underrepresented, untapped labor pool, and some companies are having some wonderful success. Microsoft, Amazon, CompTIA, and some states are beginning to do more in this area. So I think there's a wonderful opportunity for Florida to begin to explore that. And the best ideas don't come from Tallahassee. I live in Tallahassee. I'm a Tallahassee native, but they come from every local community that knows best what those needs are and who those individuals are who need the help. So again, Galen, when you call CareerSource South Florida and you start that conversation, add apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships to the list.
Okay. Well, I would like to thank.
Also,
Oh, go
Drew,
ahead.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. I hope I can get 2 minutes in and just share with you to piggyback on what you and Adrian were saying. At least our career sources, we are able to work with VR, and we are always have amazing VR partners that come to our facilities, or we have one contact. So if your students were, I can't speak for every region, but I can speak for most regions, or my region particularly, for example, we have DVS and VR, and we have a particular contact. So any client that comes through here, we always suggest and we always give them information on VR, vocational, whatever we can provide for them, we send them out to our partners, those being, whether it's VR, DVS, or whoever it may be. So we are working very closely with our partners in the area. So I just wanted to share that with you so that at least you know that your students will get the information.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. This has been very helpful.
Our apologies for the technology. For some reason, we keep coming in and out. I don't know why.
Happens. It seems to happen whenever you're presenting. That seems to be when it happens. So, Elsa and Adrian, it was so nice to meet you both. Thank you both for sharing such valuable information. Thanks to all of our participants who took the time out of their busy schedules to participate in this session to learn more about students gaining employment. I was just the other day in a store in Gainesville, and a student who I taught in high school years ago, he's 44. He's been working for 15 years.
Wow.
That told me how much he loves his job and loves his work. And I'm telling you, I thought, that's why I keep doing this, because I see someone that lots of folks would have thought, is he going to be able to hold down? And the fact is, everybody at that business loves him too. They think he's one of their most loved employees because he's a hard worker. He's easy to get along with, and he's got a great customer service attitude. So, what else could you ask for?
And Drew, if I could, again, I'll put in a pitch and ask if you've got a few minutes, since we're giving you just a few minutes back to go take a look at that video, the goosebumps that Elsa talked about, and to hear the employers. The video includes the young people who are getting the training, the employers and the parents, but to hear the young people talk about what these opportunities mean to them, but also to hear the employers say, I would like to hire 10 more of Elsa if I could find more, and best employees. And you're right, this is what we all live to help facilitate.
So everybody, look at your Whova app, and we've got a panel discussion coming up in just a few minutes. So please join us for that to find out about accreditation at the national level and what's going to be coming up with that. And I wish you all a good morning.
Thank you all again. Have a wonderful day and a great rest of your conference.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.